Hi there, everyone. Welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Mike.
And I'm Rainbow.
And I'm sorry I'm not Chris Evans. I know you were hoping he would be here today, but he's busy. He's got some movie to make or something like that. But that's okay, because we have all sorts of wonderful, interesting information about our friend Chris Evans, who, of course, most of you know as Captain America. What's your favorite Captain America movie?
Captain America.
The Avengers movies, Captain America, Winter Soldier, all those ones.
The first one.
The first one?
The first one, and that's the only one I like. I feel like he didn't really get a good role in the other movies. They didn't really pay too much attention to him, and he seemed weaker than the other superheroes.
I kind of liked him in the other movies a little bit, and I think it really showed his range or his skills as an actor. Because like in the first one, he's Captain America, he's good, he's honorable, he always does the right thing. He's a little bit boring as a character. But then later on, I think it might have been Civil War, one of those ones, he kind of almost becomes a bad guy, right? There's him on one side and Tony Stark, Iron Man, and they're not getting along, and everyone's and you know, you're kind of like, hey, he's a bit of a mean guy. He can be a bit of a, I don't know, he's always kind of wants everyone to do it his way. But I just thought it was interesting. He could take a character who everyone likes, he's a hero, but he also made you kind of not like him a little bit. But then later on, he was, you know, a nice guy again, and everyone was getting along. I think as an actor, that would be a tricky thing to do, to kind of come across to the audience as a little bit unlikable, but still be likable in the end.
That sounds like the Joker a little bit.
Yeah, a little
that
bit
kind of
like
feeling.
that too. I think it's more interesting to play those bad guys. So it was good that
he got a breakthrough for him.
Absolutely good that they gave him the chance to kind of do that with his character, and also it showed off his wonderful skills as an actor. And we're going to see a lot more of the things he's been doing and will do in the future in part 2 of Chris Evans' More Than a Marvel.
But to me, he's always a good guy.
That's just because you like him with his shirt off.
Yeah, probably.
The first Avenger was a global box office success, earning more than $370 million worldwide. Evans has since appeared in 9 other Marvel movies and is expected to sign on for at least one more future film. But his success goes far beyond comic book movies. Evans has tried his hand at directing, making his debut with the romantic comedy Before We Go in 2014. 4 years later, Evans appeared in his first Broadway production, Lobby Hero, to great reviews. And in another display of his acting range and skill, Evans played the villain in 2022's The Gray Man, a complete departure from his usual heroic characters.
All right, here we are with part 2 of Chris Evans' More Than a Marvel. He's more than a Marvel action hero and more than just a great actor. He's a great guy. Let's find out about these movies he's made. It says the first Avenger was a global box office success, earning more than $370 million worldwide. So that's the first Captain America movie, right? First Avenger was the full title, and that of course is US dollars, not NT dollars. So that's you know, almost a third, more than a third of $1 billion. In other words, a lot of money. Evans has since appeared in 9 other Marvel movies and is expected to sign on for at least one more future film. Very interesting.
He's going to be there forever.
Yeah, and so we know that some of the, I think Robert Downey Jr. will not be back.
Yeah,
Chris Hemsworth is taking a break from acting for his mental health, which is very important and good, but we might not see him back as Thor. But Chris Evans might be back for Marvel movie number 10.
Because Captain America died, I remember.
That's true. Well, did he? All right, back to the article.
But his success goes far beyond comic book movies. We'll find out about what else he did. Evan has tried his hand at directing, making his debut with the romantic comedy Before We Go in 2014. I don't think I know about this movie. No. He directed it.
That's right.
And it was a comedy.
It was a comedy. I think he was quite well known for these comedy films before he got into the Marvel universe. Marvel movies are action movies. You might call them dramas too. There's a little bit of comedy in a Marvel movie, but not much, because comedy is all about making you laugh. not making you scared or excited or, oh no, what's going to happen? It's all about ha 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 and having a good time, making jokes, people falling down, pies in the face, all that kind of stuff. So if you like movies that make you laugh, whether it's the romantic comedy or a slapstick comedy or a British comedy, all these different styles of ways of making you laugh. That's what comedies are all about. Here's a person who has an opinion. They say, I prefer comedies to dramas because I love to laugh. Dramas are great. They're about feelings and emotions and relationships, but they can often make you cry at the end. Comedies, no. It's all about laughter and fun. That's what comedies are for.
4 years later, Evans appeared in his first Broadway production, Lobby Hero, to great reviews. So he's really expanding. And in another display of his acting range and skill, Evans played the villain in 2022's The Gray Man, a complete departure from his usual heroic character. So I guess he's kind of saying, I'm not just a superhero, I also want to be something else.
That's true. I think as an actor, once you start getting really famous for one character, especially a superhero or James Bond, Harry Potter, it can be hard to do other things.
It can.
So that's
it's very hard.
Kind of cool. He was in that Netflix film. I think it's a Ryan Gosling spy film.
Oh.
And he got to play the bad guy in a film, which is weird for us as an audience.
Yeah.
You're Captain America, but now you want to blow
You're like
up the
always
world.
good.
Now you're like Ultron or something. You're the bad guy. So this was a real departure for him. A departure, well, it's to leave. If you go to the airport, 2 sections of the airport, one will be arrival, people fly into this part, departure, people fly out of that part, because to depart or departure is about leaving. But when we talk about departure in terms of a person's life or their career or their hobbies, a departure is something that's very different. You're leaving sort of your safe, comfortable place and you're going off to do something a little crazy, a little different.
New.
People will go, really? You're doing that? I'm kind of surprised. It's a real departure for you. It's a big change or a big shift in style. If a rock and roll musician suddenly decides to do a jazz album, you might say, wow, that's a real departure. They used to play rock and roll with loud drums. Now they're playing quiet jazz. It's a real big change or a departure. For example, the new medical treatment is a major departure from traditional practices. Like when they started to use lasers on your eyes instead of just giving you glasses. That was a real big change, a real departure.
It was, and we are going to take a short departure, but we'll be back very soon, right after the break.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。Chris Evans 在2011年在漫威的《美国队长》这部电影当中，以美国队长这个角色享誉国际。这部片大获成功。那在这之后，他也有演出其他9部漫威电影，预计未来至少还会再拍1部。好，那么课文写到说 ，Chris Evans 曾经尝试指导，在2014年，他有推出处女作浪漫喜剧《纽约爱未眠》。那么4年后，他则演出自己的第1部百老汇作品，有获得好评。另外，在2022年的《灰影人》当中，则是饰演反派，跟他平常的那种英雄角色是大相径庭的。好，再来看到单字 comedy 它表示喜剧或是喜剧片，这时候是可数名词，它也可以当不可数名词来表达喜剧表演。好，那么文中提到这个 romantic comedy 就是浪漫喜剧，而 Mike 老师则有提到 slapstick comedy 则是指闹剧、低俗喜剧的意思。好，下一个单字 departure 它表示离开、启程。不过在文中呢，它可能是指这种对惯例啊，或是传统的偏离、违背或是背离。好，这边一个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看这个重点是 try one's hand at 名词或动名词去表达尝试做什么什么。这个片语常常用来表示初次尝试做某事，就带有试试身手的意思。那么 hand 在这边必须用单数型，像 Amy's guitar teacher encouraged her to try her hand at songwriting。Amy 的吉他老师鼓励她尝试写歌，要她试试身手。好，那我们直接回到课文中。
In 2017, while filming the movie Gifted at a dog shelter, Evans learned that the dogs in the scene were real rescue dogs, not animals hired for the movie. Evans fell in love with one of the dogs, Dodger, on the spot, and later adopted him. When not on set, Evans often spends time in costume as Captain America, visiting young patients and raising money at children's hospitals in the U.S. It seems that in addition to being the world's sexiest man, Chris Evans has a big heart, too.
All right, let's get back to Chris Evans and find out about some of the other movies he might have made, because he's made a lot, but I think most of us know him from Marvel and Captain America. So let's check out some of the other things he's done. It says in 2017, while filming the movie Gifted at a dog shelter, Evans learned that the dogs in the scene were real rescue dogs, not animals hired for the movie. Okay, that's kind of unusual. So he made a movie. The movie was set in a dog shelter. This is one of those places, a charity, where people, volunteers, will keep dogs safe, keep them off the street, keep them healthy, and hopefully find them a happy home to go to. Now, most of you probably know that the animals we see in movies are often trained. They're animal actors. Well, the ones in this movie, they were not. They were just dogs from the dog shelter. So that kind of, I guess, meant that if you liked them, you could take them home. They weren't actors owned by someone else. So it says Evans fell in love with one of the dogs, Dodger, on the spot and later adopted him.
So sweet.
I think if I was an actor and I did animal movies, I would be adopting animals every single film or whatever.
You would have like 80
have
animals.
a zoo at home very soon. Because when you go to the shelter, of course, there's all these cute animals there. Many of them just want love and a home.
Yes.
And if you're like me, you'd probably want to give them that home because, you know, that you don't want them to live in the shelter for the rest of their life. That's no fun.
So a shelter here is referring to an animal shelter. An animal shelter is a place where they keep the animals that are found on the streets. And this place called a shelter is a home for them, and they'll have a place to sleep. There's some food for them, and they wait for the people to adopt them. So we can go to the shelter and adopt animals instead of buying them, and that's a way to give love to them, especially since a lot of them are very, very sweet, like the ones that Chris Evans met. Christina always helps out at a homeless shelter during the holidays. So in this case, the word before the shelter is homeless. Now this is a place for people who are on the streets without a home, and people can give them food there and let them stay and have some blankets. So the word shelter is a home for people without a home, and it could be an animal shelter or a shelter for people.
Yeah, homeless shelter. There might be shelter for unemployed people, women's shelter for women who want to get away from a bad situation. And of course, in general, though, a shelter is also just a place where you get protection. A tree can give you shelter if there's a sudden rainstorm, and your home is the place where you go for shelter. It's the place where you're safe and protected from all the bad things that might be out there. And yes, when people go to animal shelters, the hope is that they will decide to choose one of those animals, bring them home, and make them part of their family. And that is basically what happens when you adopt an animal or a baby. People often adopt children or babies into their homes. If a couple of people who are married or whatever want to start a family but can't do it in the sort of normal way, they might choose to adopt some children or something like that. In the same way, you're taking someone who is kind of from outside your family, but you're deciding to bring them in and to make them part of your family, whether it's an animal or a person or a young person like a baby. For example, Alex decided to adopt a cat rather than buy one from a pet shop. Good for you, Alex. I salute you, sir. Do not buy those ones from the pet shops if you can avoid it. Lots of animals in shelters need homes, and they're free. They don't cost anything usually. So go to the shelter. It's a much better place to get a happy, healthy animal.
When not on set, Evans often spends time in costume as Captain America, visiting young patients and raising money at children's hospitals in the U.S. See, he really is Captain America. He's the real Captain America.
He just likes wearing the costume.
He's the real one.
He likes the costume. It makes him look very handsome.
The costume is that outfit that you put on yourself. Usually you dress up for a specific occasion, such as Halloween, or people at Disneyland might dress up in different costumes as princesses. But actually, you know, in Disneyland, they're not allowed to be out of costume and say they're in costume. They have to speak as the prince. That's the rule.
Oh, like they can't take their head off and take a drink of water.
No, and they always have to answer like they are that person.
And those costumes can get hot too, right?
Yeah, so these are the special outfits of cartoon characters or movie characters that you would wear. As soon as he left the circus tent, Benny took off his clown costume. So as Mike said, these costumes can be very hot. And so sometimes when people are done with work, ooh, they want to take it off.
Yeah, that's right. So entertainers, we generally say the special clothes they wear to be in a play or a movie, that is their costume. It's different from a uniform, and definitely don't say to a policeman, hey, I like your costume, Mr. Police. No, that's a uniform. But if you're an entertainer, your special clothes are a costume. Back to the article, it seems that in addition to being the world's sexiest man, but only for 1 year, only for 1 year.
He's only sexy for 1 year?
Yeah, so they'll pick someone else next year. Anyways, in addition to being the world's sexiest man, Chris Evans has a big heart too.
And that makes everybody love him more.
That is true. And that doesn't mean he's got health problems. He doesn't have a big heart because he smokes too much. We mean he has a big heart.
Kind.
He's kind and caring. He helps charities. He adopts animals. He does all sorts of things for kids. And that is another good thing that we like about Chris Evans. So here's our What Do You Think question. What is your favorite Chris Evans movie? And Weishama.
Okay, I already answered mine,
yes.
So you can say what was your favorite Chris Evans movie.
A favorite Chris Evans movie of mine is Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Why?
I think is the name. Because it's a small movie. It's a little independent movie. A lot of it was filmed in Canada, my home country. It's got wonderful scenes of the terrible Canadian winters. But it's also a really funny movie, and he plays a bad guy. He's not in the movie for very long, but he plays a very memorable character, and it's actually a really funny movie. I would recommend it for everyone to go out and see Scott Pilgrim. It was originally a Canadian manga. That's right, they make manga in Canada.
I didn't know that.
And then it became a movie. It's very entertaining, very funny, and he's good in it, and everyone's good in it, actually.
And Chris Evans is hot, so you have to watch it.
I don't know if he takes his shirt off, though. Maybe I'll have to watch it again. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Enjoy yourselves out there. Go see some good movies. Support the arts in your community and also your animal shelters. They're doing wonderful work, as Chris Evans knows. We'll see you back here sometime soon. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
介绍完 Chris Evans 的背景和经历，接着我们来看看他慈善工作的部分。在2017年 ，Chris Evans 在一间狗收容所拍摄电影的时候，就得知说场景里面的狗都是真正的获救犬，而不是为了拍电影而雇佣的动物。那他当场就爱上其中一只狗狗叫 Dodger， 后来就收养了它。不在片场的时候呢，他其实也常常会花时间装扮成美国队长，去探望美国儿童医院的年轻病患，还有募款。可以看出他确实有一颗善良的心。文中用到 somebody have a big heart， 这表示某人心地善良、慷慨大方。好，那么 Mike 老师刚刚则用到 caring 这个形容词 ，caring，caring 可以用来形容有爱心的、关心他人的。好，我们再来看到课文单字 shelter 它表示收容所或是庇护所，像 homeless shelter 就可以用来表达游民收容所游民之家。老师们刚刚还有用到 unemployed 来形容失业的，那它是拼作 unemployed unemployed。好，下一个单字 adopt， 它可以表达领养、收养，也有采用的意思。那么 costume 则是指戏服或者是特殊活动的服装。Rainbow 老师这时候也有用到另外一个字叫 outfit。outfit 可以表达全套服装，或者是为特定场合所穿的服装套装。好，这边一个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，那这边这个重点，我们来学一下 spend 这个动词，它的动词三态是 spend、spent、spent， 它可以指花费或是耗费，像是耗费时间花费金钱等等。那它的用法就是 somebody spend 时间或金钱加上动词 ing， 或者是 somebody spend 加上时间或金钱加上 on 加名词。我们来看两个例句 ：Zach spent the whole day reading comic books。Zach 看了一整天的漫画，他一整天的时间都耗费在这。 Jessie spends a lot of money on shoes. Jessie 花了很多钱买鞋子。好，以上是今天讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
The first Avenger was a global box office success, earning more than $370 million worldwide. Evans has since appeared in 9 other Marvel movies and is expected to sign on for at least one more future film. But his success goes far beyond comic book movies. Evans has tried his hand at directing, making his debut with the romantic comedy Before We Go in 2014. 4 years later, Evans appeared in his first Broadway production, Lobby Hero, to great reviews. And in another display of his acting range and skill, Evans played the villain in 2022's The Gray Man, a complete departure from his usual heroic characters. In 2017, while filming the movie Gifted at a dog shelter, Evans learned that the dogs in the scene were real rescue dogs, not animals hired for the movie. Evans fell in love with one of the dogs, Dodger, on the spot, and later adopted him. When not on set, Evans often spends time in costume as Captain America, visiting young patients and raising money at children's hospitals in the U.S. It seems that in addition to being the world's sexiest man, Chris Evans has a big heart too.
Hi, I'm Josh.
I'm Kiki.
And today we're going to be playing Guess the Bear. We each have 3 cards with words or phrases on them, and we have to guess what they are because the word has been replaced by the word bear. So we have 1 minute on the clock to do it. Are you ready to go?
Yes.
All right. Noun, 1 word. The woodsman built an outdoor bear from branches. They ran into the building seeking bear from the rain.
Shelter.
That would be correct. And the next one we have verb, 1 word. We bared all of our animals from the local animal shelter. I don't want children of my own, but I would like to bear.
Adopt?
You got it again.
Okay.
That's 2 out of 3. Let's see if you can get the third one, which I think might be a little bit tricky because this one is a phrase, 3 words. Would you like to bear your bear cooking this new Thai dish? I don't know if I'd be good at skateboarding, but I'll bear my bear it.
Like, take a chance at?
Very close, and unfortunately you didn't get it. It was try one's hand at, phrase 3 words. Would you like to try your hand at cooking this new Thai dish? I don't know if I'd be good at skateboarding, but I'll try my hand at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that was tricky. Okay, it's your turn.
Okay.
Start the clock. Okay. Noun, 1 word. The famous actress has been in many bears. My favorite kind of movies are romantic bears.
I gotta say, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be movie.
No. It was
Okay. Film.
No.
Production.
Okay, next one. Noun, 1 word. The singer's new album is a big bear from her previous works. The new plan is a bear from what we've tried previously.
Is that departure?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
You got that one.
Yeah, how about that?
Okay. Phrase, 3 words. Bear, the boss is not in right now. I asked him to participate, but Bear, he is not interested.
I'm afraid that. I think that. I fear that.
Bear. It seems that.
Okay.
It seems that the boss is not in right now. I asked him to participate, but it seems that he is not interested. And the last one is comedy. The famous actress has been in many comedies. My favorite kind of movies are romantic comedies.
Well, it makes sense now that you explain it.
Those were pretty hard.
Yeah, that was pretty tricky.